Another important game today for the Ivy League is up in Ithaca.
It is a very important game because in Ithaca, the University of Pennsylvania, undefeated in Ivy League play and undefeated this season, takes on Cornell. Cornell undefeated in Ivy League play. Maxie Baughan, the Cornell coach, made good on his promise. He said, this will be our year. We will be competitive this year. He is more than competitive. They're going after the title. And although historically the game is being played here in Cambridge, today, as far as the Ivy League is concerned, the game is being played in Ithaca.
Well, this afternoon we're going to be going to updates for the Penn-Cornell game. Let's go now to Sean McDonough, Penn-Cornell update.
Thank you, Brian. And as you well know, the last time two Ivy League teams met in the last game of the season with identical 6-0 records and played for the league title was in 1968, when Harvard and Yale played to a 29-29 tie. That is perhaps the most talked about game in Ivy history. Today in Ithaca, New York, they're talking about Pennsylvania and Cornell as the Big Red take the field before the largest crowd at Sholkoff Field since 1971 in the days of Ed Marinaro. The Pennsylvania Quakers come in at 9-0 overall and the favorite. They're 6-0 in Ivy play. They're attempting to become the first Ivy team since the formation of the league to finish a 10-game season with a perfect 10-0 mark. Pennsylvania is also attempting to become only the second Ivy team to win 5 straight Ivy championships. Dartmouth did it from 1969 to 73. And the Quakers today also hope to become the first school to ever win 3 straight outright Ivy titles. The history is not as rich for Cornell. The Big Red is 8-1 overall this season, 6-0 in the league, but they've won only 1 Ivy title. That was back in 1971 when they shared it with Dartmouth. The kickoff just a few moments for Cornell and Penn, but now back to Cambridge.
Let's go to Sean McDonough for Penn-Cornell update.
Thank you very much, Brian. Our first big play of the afternoon in Ithaca. Cornell took the opening kickoff, went 3 plays and was forced to punt the football. Eric Bernstein punted the ball away for the Cornell Big Red. It was a short punt that bounced down the field. Pennsylvania's safety man came up and tried to make the play. He fumbled the football. Cornell recovered the football, and as you can see, they have it 1st and 10 inside the 20-yard line at the 17 of Pennsylvania. And Marty Stallone is at quarterback. He hands off to Jeff Johnson, and Johnson gets a short gain of about 2 yards on the play. Tackled by A.J. Sebastianelli, number 59, for the University of Pennsylvania. So Cornell in the game's opening minutes with the game's first good scoring opportunity, recovering the fumbled punt misplayed by the Quakers of Pennsylvania. 43 degrees today in Ithaca, a slight breeze blowing at about 8 miles an hour out of the northwest, but not much of a factor inside the stadium. Lots of snow and ice around the field, but the playing surface itself is in good shape. Stallone to throw his first pass of the afternoon toward the end zone, and it's incomplete. Let's take a look now at the key play of the game so far at Sholkoff Field in Ithaca, New York. The punt by Eric Bernstein of Cornell, misplayed by the safety men. Perhaps a bit of a controversial play here. It appeared that one of the Cornell kick coverage men had touched the ball right here. But they say it did not brush off that Cornell player. Then you see the Penn safety man inexplicably trying to make the play. He did not come up with the ball. That made it a live ball. Cornell recovered, and they're looking for the game's first score on the 14-yard line. 3rd down and 7 for the Big Red of Cornell. I formation behind Stallone. The pitch goes to Scott Malaga. He has running room. Lead block from Johnson. Malaga down to the 1-yard line. And Cornell knocking on the doorstep. They'll have 1st and goal at the 1. That's the 3rd carry of the afternoon for Scott Malaga. And he'll come out of the game now. Malaga in the starting backfield with Jeff Johnson, who's been the leading rusher this season for the Big Red of Cornell. They've been splitting the ball carrying in just 1 pass attempt on 7 plays thus far for Cornell. In the Harvard-Yale game, Yale now in possession of the football at midfield. We'll be switching back to Cambridge in just a moment. Here's Johnson into the line, and he is stopped short of the goal line, piled up by a host of Pennsylvania tacklers. So 2nd and goal for the Big Red. We'll see where they spot the ball. Apparently a slight loss on the play, perhaps back to the 2. Pennsylvania has not lost an Ivy League game to a team other than Harvard since 1982, and that was against Cornell in Ithaca. That was also the last time, of course, that Cornell defeated Pennsylvania in 1982. Coach Maxie Bond has never coached a Cornell team to victory over Penn. He is 0-3 in his tenure in Ithaca against the Quakers. Second down and goal from the 2 for Penn. Stallone again hands off for Cornell, Johnson to the goal line, and he is in for the touchdown. Cornell on the board. Jeff Johnson, a 2-yard plunge into the middle of the line, and Cornell out on top 6-0. Taking advantage of the turnover on the punt team by Pennsylvania. The extra point upcoming here for the Big Red of Cornell. Just moments into the first quarter. Pennsylvania has not yet touched the ball on offense. They were about to get it back, but the fumbled punt led to the continuing of possession for Cornell. And they are trying to tack on the extra point as Tom Ogg comes on with 10:49 remaining in the first quarter. The snap is good, so is the hold, and the kick from Ogg is also good. And Cornell has a 7-0 lead over Penn in the Ivy Championship game. Back to Cambridge.
Back up to Ithaca to the Cornell-Penn game.
Brian, in Ithaca, Pennsylvania's first drive stopped inside the Cornell 30. Jim Crocicchia fumbling the snap from center. It squirts free. Jeff DeLamalure, number 46, recovers for Cornell. The Big Red has the ball back on offense deep in their own territory. Back to Cambridge.
Crocicchia moved away from that center much too soon. He's got to hang in there on that kind of exchange. We're going to go to Ithaca for an update on Penn Cornell.
Brian, here in Ithaca, it's still 7-0 Cornell, but Penn is knocking on the door. Seconds ago, a long pass play, Jim Crocicchia to Scott Scungio, a gain of 39 yards. And Pennsylvania now inside the 10-yard line of Cornell as Rich Comizio carries. Pennsylvania looking for the tying touchdown. If you're just joining us, Cornell, after a fumbled punt by Penn's Chris Flynn, recovered the ball on the Penn 17, took 5 plays and punched it in. Jeff Johnson, a 2-yard touchdown run with 10:49 remaining in the first quarter. Ogg added the extra point for Cornell, the Big Red leading by a score of 7-0. But it is 2nd and 7 for Pennsylvania at the Cornell 9. Jim Crocicchia at quarterback. Hands off to Chris Flynn, and he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of a yard on the play, back to the 11-yard line. Actually a loss of 2 where they spot it now. And it'll be 3rd down upcoming for Pennsylvania. 9 yards to go for a first down, and 11 yards to go for the first touchdown of the afternoon for the Quakers. High formation behind Crocicchia. 4:05 remaining in the first quarter. Scungio in motion. Crocicchia rolling to his left. Throws into the end zone, and it is caught in the corner of the end zone by Novoselsky for a touchdown, but there is a flag on the play. Brent Novoselsky with the reception, but let's check out the penalty flag. Harvard back in Cambridge is about to punt. We'll be switching back to Harvard Stadium momentarily. Let's see who the penalty is going against here. A conference of the officials. Jim Crocicchia seems exasperated for Penn, and perhaps it's going to go against the Quakers. It is. And that'll call back the touchdown. Still a 7-0 Cornell lead. This drive for Pennsylvania began at the 28-yard line. Delay of game, the call. Cornell was forced to punt. Pennsylvania began at the 28-yard line. 9 plays later, they are backed up to the 16 after an illegal formation call against the Quakers. Passing situation for Crocicchia. Straight back, avoids the heavy rush, throws again into the end zone, overthrown. Intended for Scungio. No chance for him to catch that ball, and Crocicchia was running for his life. Very nearly crossed the line of scrimmage as he avoided the rush and stepped up to throw. So a field goal situation now for the Quakers of Pennsylvania. And Jim Grass is coming on to attempt the field goal. Dave McNally on to hold for Jim Grass, the junior place kicker, left-footed for Pennsylvania. A field goal attempt of 33 yards for Penn. The kick is up, and it's good. And Pennsylvania on the 33-yard field goal by Jim Grass is on the board. It's now Cornell 7 and Penn 3. Back to Cambridge.
And let's go back to Ithaca for the Penn-Cornell update.
Seconds ago here in Ithaca, another big play on defense for Pennsylvania. Marty Stallone, who's off to a tough start this afternoon at quarterback for Cornell. Rolling out, he throws. It's intercepted by Jeff Fortna, number 30 for Pennsylvania. He goes down at the 15. That's where Penn is right now, 2nd and 10. And we're going to pick up the live action here in Ithaca with Pennsylvania at the 15, 2nd and 10. After the interception, a carry by Rich Comizio for no gain, and it's still 2nd and 10. It's Pennsylvania trailing Cornell by a score of 7-3. Long count. The handoff goes to Chris Flynn, running left. He's inside the 5 and out of bounds at the 5-yard line. That'll be close to a first down. The original line of scrimmage was the 15. Comizio has done the bulk of the ball carrying thus far. And a 10-yard gain on 2nd down for Flynn. It is a first down at the 5-yard line of Cornell for Pennsylvania. We're in the waning moments of the first quarter. Rob Andrews went in motion for Penn. Comizio into the line, and he stopped for no gain at the 5-yard line. Ward Johnson, number 47, led the defensive surge on the tackle for Cornell. Also in there, Tom Bernardo, the outstanding middle linebacker, the senior for Cornell, wearing number 50. 2nd and goal from the 5 for the Quakers of Pennsylvania. Coming in with an overall record of 9-0, 6-0 in the Ivy League. Cornell, 8-1 overall. The only loss for the Big Red to Lafayette. The Big Red also 6-0 in Ivy League play. Fake the handoff to Flynn. Crocicchia lobs it wide open and a touchdown. Scott Scungio with the touchdown reception, and Pennsylvania has a 9-7 lead with the extra point upcoming. Didn't take long after the interception by Fortna. 4 plays and a touchdown for Pennsylvania. Jim Grass will attempt the extra point, but right now we'll send you back to Harvard. And
Let's go to Sean McDonough for a Penn Cornell update.
Here in Ithaca, still 10-7 in favor of Pennsylvania. The Quakers have the ball, and they're moving out toward midfield. With the exception of the fumbled punt by Pennsylvania that led to the Cornell touchdown, the Big Red has had a very difficult time moving the football. Eric Bernstein has already punted 4 times for Cornell. Marty Stallone, the quarterback for the Big Red, is 0 for 6. He has thrown 1 interception that led to the Pennsylvania touchdown. He has also been called once for intentional grounding. On the other side, Jim Crocicchia, the quarterback for Penn, has performed very well in the first half. He is 5 for 8 for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. He just completed a big 3rd down pass to Chris Flynn to keep this drive alive. It was a 15-yard gain. Rich Comizio just carried for 4 yards to put Pennsylvania at its own 49-yard line with 9 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Crocicchia to attempt his 9th pass of the afternoon, and it is incomplete along the near sideline. He's now 5 for 9, still 10-7 Penn. Back to Harvard, Yale.
Let's go back to Sean McDonough for a Penn Cornell update.
Brian, one of the most incredible plays of the Ivy season in Ithaca, turning the ball over for Pennsylvania. Jim Crocicchia scrambling for his life avoiding rush after rush, throwing long down the field, and it is complete to Brent Novoselsky, the big tight end for the Quakers. But he'll get hit hard at the 27-yard line, and he is going to cough up the football. As the blow is delivered, Novoselsky drops the ball, and Cornell recovers. The Big Red back on offense and moving up the field now at the 40-yard line of Cornell. Still 10-7, back to Cambridge.
It's a type of scrambling that we haven't seen Crocicchia do this season.
Yeah, he made a great play. He came to the money player Novoselsky, but Cornell is a tough defensive football team, and they had a shot on him that time. Unfortunate play that they turned the ball back over to him, but that's the way they play. They're two excellent defensive football teams up there in Ithaca playing today.
Let's go to Sean McDonough with a Penn Cornell update.
Thank you, Brian. Fourth down upcoming for Pennsylvania. The Quakers have the ball and the lead. They are out in front 10-7, and they are at the 31-yard line of Cornell with 1:45 in the clock running to play in the first half. Jim Crocicchia, the quarterback, 7 for 11 for 139 yards and 1 touchdown, and they're going for it on fourth down. A long 2. Fake handoff to Comizio. Throwing to the sideline. It is complete, and it is a touchdown for Pennsylvania. Jim Miklos, the tight end, goes in for the second touchdown pass of the afternoon from Jim Crocicchia, and it's a 13-7. Or check that. A 16-7 Pennsylvania lead with just more than a minute to play, and the snowballs beginning to come down from the Pennsylvania and Cornell stands. Let's take a look at the replay once again. Short yardage, Cornell looking for the run. Crocicchia goes to the play action pass and connects with Miklos. He walks in unmolested to the end zone, and it is a 16-7 Pennsylvania lead. Jim Grass on to attempt the extra point. It is good, and it's now 17-7 Pennsylvania. The Quakers have controlled the first half throughout. The only time Cornell was able to score was off a fumbled punt by Penn. Let's go back to Cambridge, Harvard, and Yale. Brian and Bob.
Let's go to Sean McDonough for a Penn Cornell update.
Thank you very much, Brian. We are just underway in the second half here in Ithaca. Cornell with the ball, still trailing 17-7 at its own 40-yard line, and the pass is incomplete from Marty Stallone, who's still having a tough afternoon. He is 5 for 16 on the day. He has not thrown a touchdown pass, and he has been intercepted once. Key play seconds ago to keep this drive alive for Cornell. The drive began at the 16. Cornell was facing a 3rd down and 6 at the 20, and there was a 19-yard pass completion from Marty Stallone to Stuart Mitchell that kept the drive alive. It's now 2nd and 10 from the 39-yard line for the Big Red. Jeff Johnson, the ball carrier for Cornell, into the line. He has had a tough afternoon as well. Not much in the way of offense for the Big Red. Johnson has now carried 12 times, and he has gained just 33 yards. That was a 2-yard gain out to the 42. 3rd down for Cornell, and 8 yards to go for a first down. Jim Crocicchia on the other side of the ledger for Pennsylvania. The quarterback is having an excellent afternoon for the Quakers. He's 9 for 15, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stallone throwing. That pass is complete. Breaking away down the sideline. This is going to go for a Cornell touchdown. Chris Hahn on the touchdown reception. A 58-yard touchdown strike, and Cornell back within striking distance. It is now 17-13 with 10:14 remaining in the 3rd quarter and the extra point upcoming. Let's take a look at the touchdown pass once again. Stallone completing his first touchdown pass of the afternoon. It goes to Chris Hahn, who is making his 2nd touchdown reception of the afternoon, his 2nd reception rather of the afternoon, his first for a touchdown, and we'll stay here for the extra point. Tom Ogg to attempt it to try to bring the Big Red within 3. The kick is good. In the third quarter, it's Pennsylvania 17, Cornell 14. Now back to Cambridge.
Let's go back to Sean McDonough of the Penn Cornell update.
Seconds ago, Pennsylvania answering the Cornell touchdown with a touchdown of its own. Rich Comizio, a 39-yard touchdown run down the right sideline. With that carry, Comizio goes over the 100-yard mark for the fourth straight week. He now has 119 yards on 20 carries. The extra point gave Pennsylvania a 24-14 lead over Cornell. Back to Cambridge.
Let's go to Sean McDonough for a Penn Cornell update.
After the 39-yard touchdown run by Rich Comizio, which gave Penn a 24-14 lead over Cornell. Cornell back with the ball and facing a 3rd down and 10 at the 27-yard line. Big Red offense still not really able to get on track. The 2 touchdowns for Cornell, one coming after a fumbled punt by Penn's Chris Flynn at the 17-yard line. It took the Big Red 5 plays to punch that one in. The other touchdown coming on a long 58-yard touchdown pass from Stallone to Hahn. Stallone in trouble and sacked again. That is the 7th time this afternoon that Marty Stallone has been sacked by the Pennsylvania Quakers, and the Big Red will be forced to punt also for the 7th time this afternoon. We are midway through the third quarter here at Sholkoff Field in Ithaca, New York. A sellout crowd of more than 27,000 on hand, and Eric Bernstein to punt. Chris Flynn back to receive the kick for Penn. Good kick by Bernstein, driving Flynn back to his 39-yard line. And that's where he'll go down. Pennsylvania with good field position and a 10-point lead. Let's go back to Cambridge.
Now we will go back up to Ithaca to the Penn Cornell summary.
Pennsylvania continues to lead and trying to build on that lead. They have 4th down and a yard at the Cornell 25. Rich Comizio up to 138 yards on the ground for Pennsylvania. The handoff to Chris Flynn, and he has the first down as he hurdles his way down to the 22. Pennsylvania keeping it on the ground. They have had the ball for 8 plays on this drive and have attempted just 1 pass. That was incomplete. Flynn and Comizio with all of the carries and chewing up the yardage. Well, they've spotted the ball now back where Flynn's knee went down at the 23. It appeared as he lunged that he had enough for the first down, but they'll bring out the sticks to make sure. And he has the first down. Comizio has gotten the bulk of the work. That carry for Flynn, his 9th of the afternoon, while Comizio has carried the ball 23 times. Comizio, with the 100-yard plus game, has gone over 100 yards for the 6th time this season. He also rushed for more than 100 against Dartmouth, Bucknell, Brown, Princeton, and Lafayette. First and 10 for Pennsylvania in the waning moments of the third quarter. Comizio carrying for the 24th time this afternoon. And he dropped the football, but it goes out of bounds. Penn retains possession. No gain on the play with 3:08 to play in the third quarter. Between Flynn and Comizio, the Quakers have had at least one 100-yard rusher in all but 1 game this season. The only game in which neither Flynn nor Comizio rushed for 100 yards or more was against Navy. And Pennsylvania, of course, came away victorious in that game as well. Back in Cambridge, Yale is about to punt. Here it's Crocicchia looking to throw and going toward the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone by Cornell. The pass was intended for Brent Novoselsky, and it was picked off in the end zone. Let's go back to Cambridge.
Let's go back to Sean McDonough for the Penn Cornell update.
Here is the last play of the third quarter in Ithaca. Jim Crocicchia for Pennsylvania, scrambling, throwing, intended for Brent Novoselsky. Good coverage on the play by Jeff DeLamalore, and the pass picked off by Ward Johnson of Cornell. Big Red back with the ball inside the Penn 40. Penn still on top by 10. Let's go back to Cambridge.
And let's go back to a update on the Penn-Cornell game in Ithaca.
Welcome back to Ithaca. We are in the opening moments of the fourth quarter, and Pennsylvania is still out on front by a score of 24-14 after the interception by Ward Johnson at the 40-yard line for Cornell. At the Penn 40, Jeff Johnson went for 7 yards. There was an offside penalty against Pennsylvania that gave Cornell a first down at the Penn 28. That's where they are now, 2nd and 10, after an incomplete pass by Marty Stallone. Stallone rolling out. He's been sacked 7 times. This time he'll run. Puts his head down and makes his way across the 20. Needed to get to the 18 for a first down. He'll come up about 1.5 yards short. That's the first time Stallone has run away from the rush this afternoon, and he's been under plenty of pressure. 13:30 to play in the fourth quarter. Stallone picked up 8 yards on the play. Jeff Johnson is the leading ball carrier for Cornell. He has carried 13 times for 41 yards. Rich Comizio up to 139 yards on 25 carries. He's the leading rusher for Penn. Big play here. Cornell trailing by 10. 3rd down, a long one. The handoff goes to Johnson into the line. He'll be close. Likely a measurement coming up here after the 14th carry of the afternoon for Jeff Johnson. Dan Booth is our cameraman this afternoon in Ithaca, doing a fine job keeping us abreast of the action between the Big Red of Cornell and the Quakers of Pennsylvania as they fight it out for the 1986 Ivy League championship. Cornell has worn the Ivy League crown just once. That was back in 1971 when the Big Red shared the title with the Dartmouth Big Green. And of course, that was during the glory years of the Ed Marinaro era. The chains are out. It's a first down picked up by Jeff Johnson at the Penn 18. Play is stopped back in Cambridge. You're not missing any of the action. There is a timeout on the field at Harvard Stadium for an injured player, and Bob Cacciola and Brian Dowling will keep you up to date on what that injury situation was. First down for Marty Stallone and the Big Red of Cornell. Stuart Mitchell went in motion. The pitch. It's Sullivan Pugh. And he is ridden out of bounds at the 12-yard line after a gain of 6 yards. Just the 3rd carry for Pugh this afternoon, and the first 2 times he carried the ball, he was stopped behind the line of scrimmage. They'll mark it closer to the 11, call it a 7-yard gain for Saul Pugh. And a 2nd and 3 for the Big Red, trailing 24-14. Less than 13 minutes to play in the 4th period. Back in Cambridge, we are told the injured player walked off under his own steam, and that is good news. Stallone to throw again. He's had a tough day passing. He's going to the end zone. Wide open touchdown. Chris Hahn, his 2nd touchdown reception of the afternoon, but hold the phone. There is a penalty flag down. If it stands, the Big Red will be back within 4, and they are. The touchdown stands. The penalty is going to go against the Pennsylvania Quakers. And Chris Hahn has his 2nd touchdown reception of the day. Earlier, he caught a 58-yard bomb from Stallone. This one covers 11 yards. 2nd touchdown pass of the afternoon for Marty Stallone. Offside was the call against Pennsylvania. Of course, the Big Red will refuse that. And if the extra point goes through with 12:23 to play, Cornell will be back within a field goal. It's 24-20 right now. Ogg on to attempt the extra point. The extra point attempt by Ogg is right down the middle. It's Pennsylvania 24 and Cornell 21. More than 12 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Let's go back to Harvard Stadium.
Let's go back to Ithaca for an update on Penn Cornell.
Here in Ithaca, Pennsylvania back with the ball after the touchdown pass from Stallone to Hahn brought Cornell back within 3 points. At After the kickoff return by Jim Bruni, Pennsylvania set up shop at the 21. A 3-yard gain by Rich Comizio got them to the 24. Then Chris Flynn, an 11-yard gain. First down, Pennsylvania at the 35. On first down, the pass is complete over the middle. Jim Miklos with his second reception of the afternoon. His first one went for a touchdown. And it should be good for another first down. It is in Cornell territory at the 49. A 16-yard gain, Crocicchia to Miklos. Down to 11 minutes to play. Here in the fourth quarter, Pennsylvania leading by 3. Crocicchia has thrown 2 interceptions here in the second half. Both of them have been big. Comizio nearly broke free. He was arm tackled at the 41-yard line. Gain of about 8 yards for Rich Comizio. That brings him up to 150 yards on the afternoon on 27 carries. He has scored a touchdown. After the gain of 8, it'll be 2nd and 2 for Pennsylvania. This is the 5th play of the drive, which began at the Penn 21. Handoff goes inside to Tom Clark, the fullback, just his 2nd carry of the afternoon. Both have come here in the second half. He has enough for the first down as he's down at the 38-yard line of Cornell. A 3-yard gain, 1st and 10 for the Quakers. In Cambridge, Harvard has punted. The ball bounded into the end zone, and Yale will have the ball at its own 20-yard line. Pennsylvania 24, Cornell 21. 1st and 10 for the Quakers at the 38. Jim Crocicchia at quarterback. Movement in the line. The handoff to Comizio. Has running room as he goes right and is brought down. Tackle made by Frontero. Came at the 33-yard line. A gain of 5 for Rich Comizio. 2nd and 5. Let's go back to Harvard Stadium now. Brian Dowling and Bob Cacciola.
Go to Sean McDonough.
Thank you, Brian. Cornell held Penn inside the 40-yard line of Cornell. Penn punting for just the 3rd time this afternoon. Cornell takes the ball back inside its own 10 at the 6-yard line. 8:26 to play in the fourth quarter, and Pennsylvania still leading by a score of 24-21. Back to Harvard Stadium.
Back to Sean McDonough with a Penn Cornell update.
Brian, interceptions have been the story of the second half in the Penn-Cornell game, with Cornell hemmed deep in its own end. The Big Red goes to the long pass, and it's intercepted by James Fangmeyer of Pennsylvania with 7:36 left. Penn back on offense at the Cornell 40.
And let's go back up for the update on Cornell and Penn.
Seconds ago here in Ithaca, Pennsylvania may have taken a large step toward its 5th consecutive Ivy League title. Chris Flynn with the nifty run. He goes 32 yards and into the end zone for the touchdown. The extra point upcoming with 3:06 to play. The extra point has been added. It is good, and Pennsylvania now leads by a score of 31-21. Back to Cambridge.
Let's go back to Cornell, Penn in Ithaca.
Here in Ithaca, 2nd and 10 for Cornell right after the kickoff. Penn scoring seconds ago on the touchdown run by Chris Flynn of 32 yards. It's 31-21 Pennsylvania, less than 3 minutes to play, and a 3rd down and 10 upcoming. That was the 2nd incompletion on this series for Marty Stallone. 2:49 to go. Stallone now 9 for 26 for 141 yards. He's thrown 2 touchdowns. He has been intercepted twice. Cornell has punted 9 times in the football game. Pennsylvania has punted only 3 times. Stallone over the middle and short of his intended target. He was going for Hawkins, and there is a flag down on the play. Personal foul, roughing the passer against Pennsylvania, so that'll keep the drive alive for Cornell. They're really in a 4-down situation anyway. Injured player for Pennsylvania down on the field, and a walk-off upcoming against the Quakers. It would have been 4th down and 10 for Cornell, but the penalty will give Cornell a first down in Pennsylvania territory as they walk it off. If you're just tuning in, Pennsylvania led 17-7 at the half, and it's been a wild back and forth second half. Penn retaking command on the touchdown by Chris Flynn, a 32-yard run. First down for Cornell at the Pennsylvania 48-yard line. 2:44 to play. Split backs behind Stallone. He has receivers split out to each side. Mitchell takes a couple of steps to his right as he goes in motion. Stallone going deep, and that pass is complete. Stuart Mitchell with the reception. He's down to the 25-yard line. A gain of 23 yards on the play, and the 10th completion of the afternoon for Marty Stallone. Cornell has all of its timeouts remaining, and they take the first right here with 2:36 to play. 1st and 10 Cornell at the 25-yard line of Pennsylvania. Dan Booth will pan over to the scoreboard, and you see the situation. 31-21, Penn on top with 2:36 to play. Cornell with 2 timeouts remaining.
Let's go back to Sean McDonough, the Penn Cornell update.
Our congratulations as well to Joe Restic. What had been a difficult season for the Crimson comes to a successful completion. And it's 1st and 10 for Cornell. The Big Red seeing their Ivy League title hopes slip away from them here in the waning moments. Chris Flynn's touchdown pass, the touchdown run rather, has put Cornell in a very difficult spot, down by 10, less than 3 minutes to play. Stallone will get sacked again. Time and time again, Stallone has gone down behind the line of scrimmage. Brad Hippenstiel came in to sack him this time, back at the 35-yard line. It's a loss of 10, and a 2nd and 20 upcoming for the Big Red of Cornell. Stallone again to throw. Going for Mitchell. It is intercepted. 3rd interception of the afternoon for Pennsylvania, and the 2nd for James Fangmeyer. Both of them big pickoffs here in the second half. Snowballs coming down from the Cornell student section on the near side of the field. The field has been in excellent shape throughout, but there is plenty of snow around the periphery, and there have been a lot of snowballs coming down after every big play by Penn. 2 minutes to play. Penn has the ball back. They have a 10-point lead. Looking to become the first Ivy team ever to win 3 straight outright Ivy League football championships, and trying to become the 2nd team to win 5 in a row overall. Dartmouth did it from 1969 to 1973. Jim Crocicchia, the quarterback. Pitches it out. Jim Bruni on the carry. He has not seen much of the ball this afternoon. He stayed in bounds, and Cornell deciding whether or not to use one of its remaining 2 timeouts. We'll stay to this game to its completion. No gain on the play for Bruni. 2nd down for Pennsylvania. Long count by Crocicchia, using every second. Handoff goes to Flynn. He won't get far. He's stacked up. And this time Cornell will use a timeout. So the Big Red with 1 timeout remaining. Flynn with the carry. His 13th of the afternoon. He's now rushed for 79 yards.
So let's go back to Sean McDonough and Penn Cornell.
Thank you, Brian, and congratulations to you and Bob on an outstanding job calling Ivy League football all season long. 1:10 left here in Ithaca. 31-21, Pennsylvania out in front. Facing a 3rd down and 10 situation, Cornell has only 1 timeout remaining. This undoubtedly will be a running play. And it's Bruni with the carry. If he picks up the 1st down, this is all but over. He's going to get the 1st down and a lot more. Bruni into Cornell territory and dragged down at the 21-yard line, but there is a penalty flag down on the play. Frontero made the saving tackle. Let's check out the penalty flag. Initial indications going against Pennsylvania, and it is a penalty call against Pennsylvania. So Cornell with a life, but they're hanging on for dear life. 57 seconds left to play and trailing by 10 points. Scores of other games from around the nation. Ball spotted back at the 29-yard line, and Holy Cross's undefeated season about to come to an end. Pennsylvania looking to become the first Ivy League team since the formation of the league to go through a 10-game season with a perfect 10-0 mark. 3rd down for Pennsylvania. Off to Flynn. Flynn ran out of bounds. He's picked up a 1st down. First down for Pennsylvania. Driving the final nail into the coffin of the Cornell Big Red. Cornell can stop the clock only once more, less than a minute to play. Penn now just has to fall on the football, and victory is theirs. The Ivy League championship will be theirs as well for the 3rd straight year outright and for the 5th straight year overall. Crocicchia goes to a knee, raises his hands triumphantly. Pennsylvania on the way to the Ivy League championship. As the final seconds tick down here, they will not have to run another play. Congratulations to the Quakers. The final score here this afternoon in Ithaca, New York. Pennsylvania 31, Cornell 21.